This week, the defamation trial between actors Johnny Depp and Amber Heard wrapped up after weeks of testimony. The jury ruled that Heard made false statements in an op-ed resulting in millions of dollars of damages for Depp. Joining us now to help break all of it down is Rachel Fiset. She is managing partner of Swayback, Fiset & Coleman. Rachel, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Rachel, tell me a little bit about what we learned from this trial and judgment. And I do want to know if you think the trial was fair for both Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. We know Johnny is a celebrity after all.
I think that we learned that we cannot underestimate star power. That is the first lesson, I think, here, because Johnny Depp began a narrative. He connected with the public, he connected with the jury, and his lawyers let him tell his story. And I think that just became a giant that could not be overcome throughout the rest of the trial. So Johnny Depp's team did a very good job in dictating how the trial would go.
And speaking of support, a lot of that we saw online, a huge amount of debate, comments, tweets, memes, basically everything around the testimony in the trial, and a lot of support, like you said, for Johnny Depp. How do you think that impacted the trial specifically? And do you think we're going to see that in cases in the future?
Well, the jury is not supposed to be looking online. They're not supposed to be looking to the press. They're not supposed to be looking outside of the courtroom for any opinions. But I think those opinions were right smack dab in the courtroom. There were hordes of fans there. There were hordes of fans outside of the courtroom. So I think the social media had a life of its own, and it may have helped each of the parties. So Amber Heard was reading it, Johnny Depp was reading it. The jury shouldn't have been reading it, but I think what was going on in the courtroom really reflected what was going on in the public at large.
Now, the Me Too movement proved how important it is to take abuse victims seriously. But at the same time, this trial has shown us the huge ramifications for people accused of abuse. So what is the right tone to strike when it comes to believing the victims, but also giving people some due process?
So this was an unusual forum to bring forth abuse. This was not a criminal court, which is normally where you would see the allegations of abuse, and there would be a higher standard to prove those, such that someone accused should not be convicted unless the accused and the prosecutor can meet that high standard. By bringing it through a defamation action in the way that this was brought, there was a circus that was allowed to be created, and Depp was allowed to control the narrative because, after all, it was his case. So this is not the normal way that we will see domestic abuse cases play out. But that said, given the amount of vitriol that Amber Heard faced for speaking out, there is a concern about a chilling effect as it relates to victims speaking out about it. And I think it more than highlighted what an accused might feel.
Yep, and now Amber Heard says that she might want to appeal that ruling, so we'll keep an eye on that. Attorney Rachel Fiset. Rachel, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.